Yes, we
Okay,
are.
I guess yes. Okay. So, hello everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Ana Gabriela Perez on behalf of the Ministry of Culture of the State of Chihuahua. Today, I'm pleased to introduce you to our special guests. They are the Dr. Isaías Rivera, Zita Paprika, and Zita Keleman.
Dr. Zita Paprika and Dr. Zita Keleman.
Dr. Zita, I'm sorry. Okay. So, we have the honor to be with you today, and I'm going to introduce you a little bit the Dr. Zita Keleman. She has a PhD in Management and Organization Science, 1993-1999. She is member of Budapest Corvinus University, majoring in International Economics, 1996-1999. CAMS master's degree. She has a master's degree in International Management, and she has a lot of academic and professional experience in marketing management, international marketing, consumer behavior, international and intercultural marketing, and other, and much more. It's a pleasure to have you here. Welcome, Zita.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And we have the Dean, Dr. Zita Paprika. She has graduated from the Karl Marx University of Budapest in 1981, and I think this is an important. She got her university doctorate degree from the same institution in 1983. In 2000, she was appointed as the Director of International Affairs at the Budapest University of Economic Sciences and Public Administration. In 2008 to 2006, she got the Fulbright Research Scholarship and spent an academic year at California State University, Sacramento. Currently, she is a member of the Hungarian Fulbright Board, and from January 1st, 2014 until January 2020, she was the Dean of the Corvinus Business School at Corvinus University of Budapest. In 2017, June, she joined the EFMD, EFAS Accreditation Board, and in 2018 became a member of the Executive Academics Steering Committee and the Advisory Board for Central and Eastern Europe. On February 1st, 2020, she was appointed by Vice President of International Relations and Accreditation of Corvinus University of Budapest. It's an honor to have you here, Zita. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. They are going to talk about student mobility and the international aspect of COVID. They are joining us from Budapest. So, good evening.
Okay, I think we're listening, Anna.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you very much, Hannah. And let me start by saying, and I will also translate this a little bit into Spanish. Your CVs are too long for me to say in Spanish, but it is my pleasure to have you both here. I am very thankful that you accepted my invitation. And let me just say this in Spanish first, then I will say it in English. Le doy las gracias a Zita Paprika y Zita Keleman, las doctoras, por haber aceptado participar conmigo. Y les digo de entrada, ellas dos son mis jefas. Entonces, estoy muy contento de que estén conmigo. What I briefly said, to summarize your CV, is that I am very happy that you're joining me, that you accepted the invitation. And I'm telling everybody that the two of you are my bosses. So, So thank you. Okay. So we will get started. I've worked with both of you, and this will be an easy flow. So let me start. Before our opening, we were discussing about the topics, and like Ana said, we will talk about student mobility and the international aspects of the university in times of COVID. Let me just say this in Spanish. Vamos a hablar de la movilidad estudiantil y los aspectos internacionales que afronta una universidad en tiempos del COVID. Y es relevante que empecemos hablando sobre México. So I'm telling them that it's relevant that we start talking about Mexico first, because most of our audience, to say the least, are located in Mexico. So one of the facts that we rehearsed, the three of us, that we found was that 76.6% of the people in Mexico do have access to internet. However, this is to say that most of these people are located in urban areas. Now, if we concentrate to the rural areas, we find out that only 44.3% have access to internet. So right away, we can tell that there's a big gap and a big problem between the urban and the rural in Mexico. So most of the people, we're talking about over 60% of students in Mexico have no access to online education. So let me just say this in Spanish first really quick, and then you ladies can comment on these numbers. Entonces, 76.6% de la población en las zonas urbanas en México tienen acceso a internet. Entonces, esto es bastante alto, pero en las zonas rurales solamente 44.3% tienen acceso al internet. Entonces, estamos hablando que más del 60% de la población en las zonas rurales no tienen acceso a internet. Y esto ya lo vimos en el programa del viernes pasado cuando conversé con dos alumnas. So, tell us, please, who would like to please comment on these numbers from Mexico?
Maybe I can start, and
Please.
I can confirm that probably we have quite similar data regarding Hungary. But I suppose that you use this data because you want to talk about online instruction, online teaching, which was the only solution during this spring. And in our case, we had to switch to teach online in a week. So
I remember, yes.
It was a big challenge for all our professors. And, we also thought about these proportions, but I might say that in Hungary, luckily, those who are involved in the higher educational instruction, they have typically an internet access, at least via a mobile phone. However, on the level of elementary schools, and even in case of some high schools, and in certain parts of the country, it was a big challenge. So I think we didn't struggle with the internet penetration problem while we were teaching. However, we've heard that our colleagues in the elementaries and high schools, they really had to be very creative to reach all their students. And in some cases, especially in the elementary, they sent worksheets in each week, and they collected. The parents had to send back the worksheets, and the teachers collected them and they sent it back. So that was not a real online instruction.
Oh, and it doesn't seem very efficient.
No, not at all. But that's even better than doing nothing. So obviously we didn't have that kind of challenge. And as I know, Zita was teaching on different levels, and even she had classes in MBA. So probably she can share her own experiences. How did it work to teach online?
Okay. Oh, I think we
She's
lost.
just disappeared.
Yes, it's
So
okay.
until she is back, maybe
This
you can
happens.
summarize
Yes,
what I
yes.
said.
Good idea. This happens sometimes, and I will summarize. Yes, I saw her face frozen, but it has happened to us before. But I will. Entonces, la doctora Zita Paprika nos menciona que el caso de Hungría y de México no es tan alejado a la realidad. O sea, en similitud me refiero. Fueron casos muy similares en el aspecto de que en las áreas rurales también se batalló un poco para hacer estos enlaces. Sin embargo, salud. Sí.
No, that's Coca-Cola.
Okay. Okay, good.
I show you.
Okay. Well, this week I'm also drinking tea because last week I had a party with Pasquale and I had too much fun, way too much fun. So anyway, I'll come back to Spanish. Entonces, le comentaba a Zita, le dije salud porque está tomando Coca-Cola, le digo que yo estoy tomando té porque la semana pasada me divertí demasiado, que debí de haberme divertido menos, pero bueno. Entonces, en las áreas rurales, lo que sucede es que los alumnos de universidad sí tenían acceso a las clases en línea, pero porque muchos de ellos tienen planes de teléfono celular o de teléfono móvil. Entonces, muchos de ellos, aunque no tenían internet en sus casas, se podían conectar por el internet que les provee su compañía con la que ellos trabajan o con la que ellos contratan. Y lo más interesante, y ahorita vamos a hablar un poquito más de Hungría, es que en las prepas y en las primarias, como no muchos de estos jovencitos, sobre todo vuelvo a las áreas rurales, no tenían acceso al internet, tuvieron que hacer una dinámica donde los profesores, los maestros de primaria y de prepa imprimían las papeletas de tareas, se las mandaban o se las llevaban a los padres o por correo. Entonces los alumnos hacían las tareas y luego igual las regresaban por correo. Y yo le mencionaba a la doctora Zita Paprika que esto parecía ser no muy eficiente, pero ella me dice, sí, no es eficiente, pero es mejor que no hacer nada. Entonces ingeniaron las formas para hacer este trabajo mejor. So, Dr. Keleman, I was just summarizing what Dr. Paprika said about her experience and the aspects and the comparison between rural and urban areas, as I mentioned in Mexico, and she mentioned the situation about Hungary. And then I don't know when you
I've heard a part of it. Yes.
Okay. So she was saying maybe Zita Paprika, you can ask Dr. Keleman again with the question.
I with pleasure. I just mentioned that my colleague Zita really had an experience in teaching online because she had a quite rich portfolio from master's classes up to MBA, EMBA. So probably she can share her experiences, how could she manage to switch immediately to online.
Yes. So it was definitely a task. Some things went a lot slower. For example, group work. I mean, just imagine that sometimes you had block classes, but at least 2 times 1.5 hours or 4 or 5. It's just not possible to lecture. So you have to keep it still interactive, and then you have to make sure that everyone participates, maybe, which was a lot less, of course. And sometimes when you shared a case study, a video, or something that you wanted to discuss, some of them did not have access, or later, just like now, my internet went down, so then I had to wait until it comes back. So I believe that even though that I try to rework the pedagogical access, it was still very difficult to give the same interest and the same type of connection than you would actually do in face-to-face classes. So if in the fall it comes that we have to teach online, then we have at least a little bit more time to prepare.
Of course. Without a doubt, Zita, what you mentioned, I also was teaching a class online, but I will tell you the experience just briefly. But let me please summarize what you just said to our audience. Entonces, la doctora Zita Keleman nos menciona que ella los retos más grandes que vio fue que cómo le hacía, porque muchas de las clases que tenemos acá son de 3 o hasta de 4 horas. Entonces, para ella fue muy difícil y tuvo que ser muy creativa para tener la atención de los alumnos durante este tiempo en línea. Que yo sé que muchas veces, y yo también di una clase en Chihuahua, donde di la clase en línea y era de 4 horas, pero yo tuve que hacer interactivo también como lo hizo la doctora Keleman. You have to be very interactive in order to keep their attention. Es lo que les estoy comentando a la gente. Y aparte, algo muy certero que menciona la doctora Keleman es la conexión. Ella se nos acaba de ir, la perdimos, y estas son situaciones que estamos viendo constantemente, y muchas veces la gente se estresa y la gente se preocupa mucho por estas cuestiones de conexión, porque la perdemos. Okay, so I did summarize what you just mentioned. Thank you. So now let's why don't we talk about specifically before we all came live. Dr. Keleman was telling me that the Hungarian government made an announcement today or yesterday. So maybe, Dr. Paprika, you can tell us a little bit what the politics of the Hungarian government is going to be, or about education, that they're not going to allow foreign students, or I don't know.
I think it's a new announcement, and as I understood, and I checked it very, very briefly, they really protect the EU borders. And well, I think if we put it in a more wider context, the whole problem, unfortunately, one of the most serious consequences of this pandemic is the difficulty of the overseas mobility. And I think as a consequence, we could expect that in the future, probably we will have much more mobility with the neighboring countries or within the same continent. And what I could read from this new announcement, that they are preparing for mainly the European exchanges, the European mobility, and obviously, they control the mobility within the EU. And as I understood, they opened the border for certain other countries. But I started to worry just a few minutes before we started this discussion, because the last article I was read that Serbia could send students to Hungary according to this new announcement. However, I just read that the number of cases increased tremendously during the past 3 days. So again, there are measurements and there is the reality. So that's why it's so difficult to predict what will happen, during the fall, because obviously and hopefully, government will support the mobility.
Of course.
However, if the figures will be, I mean, the number of cases will be higher, despite the supportive measurements, you know, it will be very risky to initiate mobilities. So that's my main concern. But I think your question was very good, because it's a two-folded challenge. It's about the regulations, and it's about the pandemia itself. So that's why it's so difficult to predict what will happen during the fall.
Of course, yes. And I've asked you before, I think I asked you this yesterday or the day before yesterday, are we coming back? But let me summarize, and maybe you can also tell us. Entonces, la doctora Zita Paprika nos menciona que el gobierno húngaro ha tomado posturas no severas, sino más que nada preventivas para tratar de controlar las consecuencias de lo que ya vivimos durante esta pandemia. Y ella dice que tal vez se van a tener más restricciones a los alumnos que están fuera de Europa, outside of Europe. Entonces, tal vez se van a empezar a hacer más colaboración con los países que están anexos a Hungría, en el caso en particular de Hungría, o alumnos que pertenecen a la Unión Europea, para poder tener un control más restringido, pero a la misma vez ella menciona que esta es una navaja de doble filo. Just like you said, a two-fold situation, una navaja de doble filo, porque menciona el caso de Serbia, que Serbia quiere mandar varios alumnos aquí a Hungría, pero que en Serbia ha habido una alta muy impactante de casos. Entonces, ¿qué se va a tener que hacer ahí? O sea, van a tener que restringir a algunos países específicamente y todos, otra cosa que ella menciona es que estamos yendo día a día, día a día. We're going day by day porque no podemos predecir lo que va a pasar. So we cannot predict what's going to happen in the near future. So that's basically, I tried to summarize. Dr. Keleman, if you'd like to give us your aspect about the Hungarian case, please.
I also can just back up Dr. Paprika's notes. The government did announce that they are keeping even stricter protection of the Hungarian borders, just like Zita mentioned, by not even letting the 14 countries in except Serbia. And that obviously makes it more difficult for international students to enter, and especially that it's the uncertainty. So we don't know. We receive the questions: should I buy a ticket? Should I book a flight? Should I book an accommodation? And we can only advise that only book if you have very good cancellation policies on everything that you book, because it can change day by day, just like the epidemic. And yes, many of our partners decided already online or face-to-face or both. So that is also a possibility.
Okay. Let me just ask you, Dr. Keleman, you said 14 countries. You mean 14 countries that Corvinus is working with? Or has
no. It's the government has set, besides of the European Union, 14 other countries like New Zealand and some others that could also enter. And the government said that for us, it's only Serbia. At least this is what the media said, just like Zita mentioned.
Okay. So let me please summarize. Entonces, lo que dice la doctora Keleman es de que, primero que nada, el gobierno húngaro dijo que hay 14 países fuera de Europa que tal vez pueden tener acceso, pero están como con un signo de interrogación. Entonces, vamos a ver, y ella también respalda lo que dice la doctora Paprika, que están yendo día a día, no tienen todavía respuesta de lo que va a suceder, y es la situación de todos. Pero muy relevante también que menciona es que los alumnos, porque ellas dos son administrativas, I am saying that both of you have, you have to answer students. I mean, you have the authority or you have the task to answer students. Entonces ellas tienen que responder a los alumnos y le preguntan que si compro un boleto, if I should buy a ticket, que si rento un departamento, if I should buy a flat, y dice, bueno, es que no sé, no puedo responder, porque no sabemos qué es lo que va a pasar de aquí a septiembre. Entonces todavía es mucha incertidumbre, aunque la situación ya está en control aquí. So, yes, that's the summary.
Well done.
Thank you.
I try.
By the way, we get reports from our colleagues day by day.
Okay,
and
tell us, please.
I can tell you that unfortunately both the outgoing and the incoming student numbers are decreasing. Unfortunately, because of the high level of uncertainty.
Okay, so there are less people coming to us.
Yes, because, most of the students would like to postpone their semester abroad to the spring 2021, which is another challenge for the universities, because if they accept these requests, then they will have empty seats during the fall. However, they will have twice as many students than their capacity next spring. So, we started to think about that challenge. That, okay, up to a certain level, we accepted these requests that students do not want to come to study with us during the fall because they are afraid of the pandemic. Actually, we should mention that according to The Economist, Hungary was the 18th, 1/8 safest country. So we might say that Hungary is safe from the pandemic point of view. However, still, quite many students change their mind, and instead of coming to Corvinus during the fall, they prefer to come next spring, which is a good strategy. The only problem that we might have twice as many students next spring than we used to have. And professors like you will be asked to give lectures not 2, 3, 4 times, but 10 times per week. How would you react on that?
Okay, well, you read my mind. Let me, before I answer your question, I will say what you're pointing out. Entonces, la doctora Paprika dice que muchos de los, por supuesto que el número de alumnos que quieren ingresar o que han aplicado a nuestra universidad aquí en Hungría y también en México, en todos lados, el número de alumnos internacionales es el caso similar de la Universidad Autónoma de Chihuahua, donde también colaboro, ha disminuido. Entonces, esto nos impacta a todos, pero es un fenómeno que vamos a ver ahora en otoño del 2020, donde los alumnos no van a viajar y no van a venir. Pero se está especulando que para primavera del 2021 el número de alumnos se va a duplicar o hasta triplicar. Y es el caso muy específico de Hungría, porque la doctora Paprika menciona que Hungría ha sido calificado como el país número 18, the 18th safest country, el país número 18 con más seguridad en contra del COVID. Entonces estamos bien. Y ella me pregunta, ¿tú qué vas a querer hacer el semestre que entra? ¿Cuántas clases quieres quedar? So now I will try to answer your question. As you were speaking, when you said, how many classes do you want to teach? You know what I was thinking?
20 maybe.
No, what I was thinking is that I really love, and I did this in the United States, I really love to teach auditorium classes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe have 100 students in a class. That is, it's such a rush. And having a lot of people in front of you, of course, we can orchestrate it. When I used to do this, I would have people help me, but now I'm talking too much. But yes, that I would be more than happy to. The more students that I have, the more I enjoy what I do. So, but we'll talk about this later. Okay. No, count me in, please. Entonces le digo a la doctora Paprika y la doctora Keleman que yo encantado de participar con alumnos, los más que sean, mejor para mí, siempre y cuando me den gente que me ayude para calificar y para tomar asistencia y todo lo que se tiene que hacer en una aula. Okay, so what do you think? Where should we go next? A lot of our partners, specifically about Corvinus, come from the United States, even though we do have partners from all over the world, as you have mentioned. But yesterday we reviewed some of the facts regarding different parts of the world. But what do you think? Should we go to the U.S.?
Yeah. I think Zita is an expert.
Perfect. So before I ask you to tell us your experience, Dr. Keleman, about the U.S., let me just read some of the facts that we talked about yesterday and the day before yesterday. So I think this makes a lot of sense. In the U.S., 96% of campus events were canceled. I mean, only the vital ones were allowed, which is 4%. Now, this is very relevant to American education because you well know that American universities, it's not only about going to school, but it's about life and life on campus. So this really hit American universities. 90% of faculty and staff travels were prohibited. 92% of students' travels were prohibited. Most people who could or were allowed to travel were to return home or to accommodate onto a better situation. And the last number that I have is that 87% of domestic travel was prohibited from all universities. Dorms and student housing were all closed. So let me just translate these facts into Spanish, and you can tell us about your experience. Entonces, lo que le menciono yo a la doctora Keleman es que 96% de todas las actividades en campus, en las universidades norteamericanas, fueron canceladas. Y esto es una parte vital para la vida de la universidad norteamericana, porque en Estados Unidos no solamente es ir a clase, sino es toda la experiencia universitaria, las fiestas, las reuniones, los eventos sociales, etc. 90% de los profesores y los administrativos tenían prohibido viajar. 92% de los estudiantes fueron prohibidos en viajar. Los únicos que dejaron viajar, ese 8% que nos queda colgando, fue para regresar a casa o para buscarles mejores situaciones de vivienda, si estaban rezagados o si estaban estancados en un lugar que no era en su casa. Y 87% de todos los viajes domésticos para las universidades fueron cancelados. So now I've translated, and please, Dr. Keleman, if you could tell us your perspective on this.
Sure. So I believe that because of the system, the education system, many times the American partners are the first ones to introduce strong measures and limitations. So they were some of the first universities who recalled their students. Many times it's also not the student's decision, but it's the university's overall decision of calling or canceling the program or not letting the students travel. And this is also what happened on one side. The universities canceled their study abroad programs fully, so they cannot travel. On the other hand, the European Union's and also Hungary's borders are closed, as we mentioned before. I believe the main or the saddest thing or the biggest impact on education is the intercultural aspect of the studies. So what you can gain, for example, if you cannot travel for some reason, then you can experience at the home campus some international environment. You can work with people from other countries. You open up in both sides. Yeah, when Hungarians travel to the US or when we receive international students, it's not just the US, but generally. And it's not the same in online environment. I would even say that it's more difficult because of the time zones. Yeah, so when you have 6-9 hours difference, it's very difficult to do group work or participate in live sessions and finding time that is okay for everyone. So I believe that, of course, this epidemic has rewritten many parts and made technology had to enter into the university's life. But at the same time, it has taken away many of the greatest aspects of actually joining a university or going on a study abroad program. So we just hope that it's going to get back.
Okay, perfect. Let's really do hope so. But let me translate what you just said, because I think it's very relevant. Entonces les voy a decir lo que la doctora Keleman nos menciona, es que la gran parte de los alumnos que nosotros tenemos aquí en Budapest vienen de Estados Unidos y todos les pidieron regresar a su país y no podían viajar. Y lo que más sucede, lo más enriquecedor, y eso también se lo hago saber a los alumnos mexicanos, es que venir. I'm just saying, you didn't talk about the Mexicans, so I'm just inviting the Mexicans to appreciate the American experience when they come to Hungary, even though we also have Mexican students.
We have quite a few Mexican students, and we miss them a lot, I have to say. We miss them a lot. Their joy, their vivaciousness, their openness. So we do miss them.
Okay.
To come.
Let me tell them. Entonces, ella les está diciendo que quiere más alumnos mexicanos acá, que los alumnos mexicanos son muy vibrantes, muy sobresalientes, muy simpáticos y que necesitamos más mexicanos acá, más alumnos mexicanos en la universidad. Y sí, lo que ella menciona es que la experiencia internacional de los alumnos, igual, no es solamente ir a clase, sino es conocer la ciudad, conocer otros países, interactuar con alumnos de otras culturas. Y bueno, el problema más grande cuando pidieron, yo tenía muchos alumnos norteamericanos, fue que se tuvieron que regresar de inmediato a su país y tuvimos un grande problema por la diferencia de horario. Entonces, cuando era hora de mi clase, now I'm talking about the time zone difference. Cuando era horario de mi clase, pues mis alumnos estaban dormidos. Entonces tuvimos que acomodar y yo con ellos no podía tener sesiones en línea. Entonces decidimos hacerlo de manera donde ellos mandaran ensayos, yo les mandaba lecturas, pero no nos teníamos que ver en las cámaras. So I talked about the accommodations that we had to deal with American students because of the time difference. Okay, Dr. Paprika, do you have? You also have vast experience about America.
Yeah, I do, and both of us were heading a certain unit at Corvinus, which was responsible for our English programs and study abroad program as well. So we are quite experienced with American partners, and we hope that this pandemic will over soon and we can welcome American students again. Actually, you know, we have a kind of American corner at our university. So yes. So we are kind of hub. And as Zita said, we love to have not only American students, but Mexican students, overseas students, and just to give an idea how international we are, we used to host 50 to 60, sometimes even 65 nations on our campus per semester, while in the good old days. And we hope that these days will return. And, you know, it's very important for our students from the point of internationalization, because even those who can't afford to go abroad, they can enjoy this colorfulness of the student population and student mix. So for us, it's extremely important to have these international student population. And one more thing, which is, well, I think equally important, that when we can't host international students, well, if it will be the case for long term, that will have a huge financial impact on the university operation. So, you know, it's also a business issue at the same time. So that means that we will lose some income. So again, for everyone, it's much better if we can continue the business as usual.
Of course. Okay, let me summarize this. Entonces, la doctora Paprika, un dato muy relevante que ella menciona, y yo no me sabía los números. I'm telling them that I didn't know the numbers. I didn't know the numbers that we used to host 50 to 60 nations in our campus. Entonces, en el campus de Corvinus teníamos representantes de 50 hasta 60 países en nuestra universidad, en nuestro campus, en un semestre. Entonces, somos una universidad totalmente internacional. Now, I know you didn't say this, but now I'm going to make a commercial because Budapest, because Budapest is beautiful and Corvinus is great.
Y les digo,
Thank you.
Porque Budapest es bello y la universidad es excelente. Entonces, la doctora Paprika dice que queremos más mexicanos, queremos más americanos, queremos gente de todo el mundo, pero bueno, tenemos que adaptarnos a la realidad. Y la realidad es que estamos viendo, y este año, aunque apenas estamos en julio, a la mitad de año, pueden decir, ¿a dónde fue los otros 6 meses? Pero tenemos que ver, como ya les repetí, ya mencionaron anteriormente mis compañeras, que tenemos que ver día a día lo que está pasando y esperarnos para ver qué se va a hacer en septiembre. Y yo creo que las decisiones se van a empezar a tomar en agosto. Y otra cuestión que menciona la doctora Paprika es que los aspectos financieros, now I'm talking about the money, what you said.
Yeah.
Los aspectos financieros, pues por supuesto que van a pegar, porque no sabemos qué va a suceder, no, y si no hay alumnos, pues por supuesto que las finanzas de la universidad van a sufrir. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes.
There is a question.
There is a question. You're correct. Ana Gabriela, thank you, Zita. So let me read this, and it's open for all of us. Anna, please ask us. You wrote this. Yes, please tell us.
Okay. Well, as the question says, as a student, I participate in mobility. I went to Colombia, and I've been there 6 months. and was one of the most important experience in my career. And also, I have a scholarship to travel to USA. I was in Ohio for a month, and was very, very important for my English, for example. And I thought that these restrictions not only affect in in an academic way. I think that it affects to the behavior of the society. You know, for example, I know that after my travels, I went. I know if this sounds like romantic, but I went a different person because I learned a lot, not only in academic way. I learned about the cultures, I learned about the persons, the others' language, so many things that is very, very valuable. And I think this affect not only in the academic situation, but in the social situation, because I think we are in a specific context. We have all the opportunities that globalization gave us, but this is a limitation and also affect to the economic, to the social behavior. And I don't know, my question is, how affect the society behavior without the opportunity to travel, whether it's academic or cultural objectives? Because I think the personality or the behavior change a lot. The question is, how do you think that? Mm-hmm.
I try to answer. I mean, for the first part, I don't know the answer, to be honest. Maybe Zita knows it, but I think I understand what you mean by that the experience you gain through a mobility is not only an academic one, but you can gain so many other things which can really have a huge impact on your future career. I think what is typical that students leave for a semester abroad as kids, and they return as adults. Wow. So they really, during that semester, when they are independent, they must rely on themselves. They should solve all the problems. They have so many new experiences, cultural and many other experiences. They have them to mature. And that's very important, I think. And my concern that you can not provide the same experiences online. So you will be not able to replace these mobility semesters by any online instruction. So that's why it's so important, to go back to the normal and continue where we have to quit. I wonder whether Zita has some good suggestions how to replace the cultural factors and the experiences online, but I have no idea.
Ana, maybe you can translate what Dr. Paprika said.
Okay. Bueno, la pregunta fue muy larga, pero en general fue cómo afecta el comportamiento de las personas sin la oportunidad de viajar, aún sea con objetivos académicos o culturales, puesto que va mucho más allá, ¿no? La movilidad estudiantil tiene muchos más beneficios, como decía la doctora Zita, tiene beneficios culturales, beneficios personales, se modifica la percepción personal, se aprende de otras culturas, de otras personas. Y bueno, pues la respuesta es esa, ¿no? Estamos en una incertidumbre de cómo funcionaría, cómo se puede, bueno, lo que nos menciona la doctora es que pues prácticamente no se puede.
No se puede. It cannot be done.
Like no se puede hacer mediante, exacto.
We need to go back to the normal.
Exacto. Pero pues estamos en esa incertidumbre de no saber cuándo, cómo se va a regresar y no se puede, esas experiencias no se pueden, se me fue la palabra, no se pueden suplantar.
No se pueden suplantar.
Por la vía online.
Dr. Keleman, you were going to tell us. But she's also going to answer you.
I also think it's not possible. Just closing down basically what Zita was saying. Just imagine that we have our own language, Hungarian, and you may participate in English classes, but if you really want to buy what you want at the market, you better learn in Hungarian what you want. Otherwise, you're gonna get what you get. And that is something which is impossible, for example, to replicate in online situations.
Okay. Sí, lo que ella dice, I will just try to replicate what you said. Sí, cuando vienes aquí, lo más enriquecedor es que tienes que aprender algo. La Universidad de Corvinus, I will tell them. Now another commercial. The University of Corvinus is located right next to the Central Market. La Universidad de Corvinus está a un ladito del mercado central. Y tienes que saber húngaro, porque si quieres comprar tomates o huevos o cebollas, tienes que saber pedir. So you say, Bocsanat, Haram Toyach.
How long have you been living in Hungary?
Oh my God. Entonces ya les dije en húngaro cómo puedes pedir que quiero 3 huevos o 4 huevos. It's very simple. I know other things, but not today.
I know. You're doing very good, actually, in Hungarian. It's a difficult language.
Now I'm blushing. Les dije que ya me puse rojo por hablar húngaro. I don't know. We're getting close to the end. Dear Zita Paprika, dear Zita Keleman, are there any closing statements that you would like to mention, or any other relevant issues that you would like?
Yeah. Of course, I want to mention that I've been to Chihuahua for 5 times, as I remember.
We met in Chihuahua.
Yeah, actually, yes. And I must say that I really enjoyed all my trips. And, I hope that after this pandemic will be over, I can return. And Isaias promised me that I will return. So I hope that I will meet students there. And I can promote Corvinus, obviously, as a very good destination for a study abroad semester.
Okay. Let me translate this and tell them. And I'll tell a little bit of the story. Miren, lo que yo les estaba diciendo antes es que me preguntaban las doctoras que si he aprendido yo húngaro. Y sí, la experiencia de estar aquí como foráneo, como mexicoamericano, es aprender húngaro. Y he aprendido a comunicarme, a llevar más que nada una situación sencilla. No hablo húngaro, pero la historia de la doctora Paprika en Chihuahua, yo la conocí a la doctora Paprika. I think we met in 2012 or 2011.
Could be, yes.
La conocí en Chihuahua en el 2011 y fuimos a comer tacos. No me acuerdo el nombre del restaurante y no voy a meter gol, pero fueron unos tacos que estaban en la calle Politécnico. Y ahí conocí a su esposo y a ella. That's where I met your husband and you, and we were eating great tacos. Y comimos unos tacos muy ricos y por eso se dio esta relación. Y la doctora Paprika ha estado en Chihuahua 5 veces. Y nuestro rector, el rector Luis Fierro, I'm telling them about Luis Fierro, the president of our university, who came to visit us. Vino a visitarnos Luis Fierro en el 2018, en 2018. Y estuvo aquí con una comité de la Universidad Autónoma de Chihuahua. Entonces, estamos tratando de acrecentar esta relación entre nuestras universidades. Thank you, Zita. Dr. Keleman.
I can only replicate what Zita said. I've only been there once 3 years ago, and that was such a wonderful visit. I actually met the family of the manager, and it was just something, like we said, very different to what we were used to in business. So I really hope that in both ways we can restart the student exchange or the student studies, and to send also Hungarian students, because I believe it's really a wonderful place and a wonderful society.
It is. Thank you. Let me just paraphrase what you said. Ella también reitera lo que dijo la doctora Paprika, que espera que ella conoció a varias personas, a varias de sus familias también de México, y que con su corazón ella espera que se puedan reintegrar la normalidad para que alumnos húngaros puedan visitar México y alumnos mexicanos puedan visitar Hungría. Thank you. But Anna, we do have some questions, if you will, please.
Yeah, I think actually this answer the question. It is, how do you think the new normality, or how do you think it's going to be the new normality about mobility in university? And actually, you say something about it before, and I don't know if you want to add something else.
I'm not sure.
This is just a hope, that everything will be the same as it was. I think the way of teaching will change a little bit, because we expected that we will use more blended learning, but the pandemic forced us to speed up this process. Mm-hmm. So that's my expectation, that we will have less face-to-face teaching, but I hope that it will still remain. Because I don't have too much time to teach, but when I teach, I prefer to teach face-to-face.
Okay. Déjales traduzco. Let me translate what you just said.
Please.
Entonces, la doctora Paprika dice que ella lo que más espera es que volvamos a la normalidad, porque ella, al igual que yo, lo que más disfrutamos es estar enfrente de un salón, tener esa interacción con los alumnos. Entonces, sí, es muy importante que luchemos como universidades, como instituciones, para volver a eso que llamábamos normal. Okay? Thank you.
Aquí, si me permiten nada más agregar,
please.
Que lo estamos viendo ya.
We lost your voice.
We lost
I'm
you,
sorry?
Anna. We lost you
I'm sorry.
For a few seconds.
Okay, en Spanish, comentaba que ya
We're losing.
Estamos viendo.
Okay, Anna. Sorry, it's okay. We were talking about these issues at the beginning.
Perspectiva general de las universidades.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, we lost her.
Well, until she comes back, I think we have lost her.
Been troubles with connecting this. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. If you can just tell us what you wanted to say.
this chat, and I hope you have no troubles with this. I'm having troubles.
Okay,
I hope
Anna.
you can listen.
Okay, are you closing your camera, or would you just want to talk? Okay, so look, I think we have lost her. Oh, you connected again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The thing is, the time is almost over. I think it's over already. And okay, we have a comment here. Sofia Herrera Rascon says, congratulations to Dr. Isaías for his valuable contribution. All those who have shared this video conference with us are of great value. Okay, and thank you to you, Zita Paprika. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Zita Keleman, for joining us and share your knowledge about this and your perspectives. I think we have a lot to say about this. It's an important situation in this context. And personally, I say thank you, and I say thank you in the name of the Ministry of Culture of Chihuahua. And if you want to say something to close this chat, go on.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity, and see you.
It was an honor also to participate, and we hope to meet you maybe in Chihuahua or the students at our university in a more peaceful and healthier future.
Yes. Ana Gabriela, before we go, again, as I started, Dr. Zita Paprika, thank you very much. Dr. Zita Keleman, thank you. I really appreciate your time, your collaboration. Dear Ana, also thank you. And thanks to Ilse, and thanks to the the Department of Culture in Chihuahua. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon again.
Yes.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining.